Hi, I'm Joe Albrecht, Managing Partner and CEO of Xngage.
And I'm Sharwil Abushaya, Managing Partner and Chief Digital Officer at Xngage. When we started the company 10 years ago, we were one of the few service providers that was solely focused on B2B e-commerce.
That's right, Jobel. We see more B2C service providers and technology firms move into B2B as the space grows and matures. We also hear often that B2B e-commerce should emulate B2C e-commerce to meet customer expectations. However, we disagree. There is a shared and common element, that's the transaction. Everything else in B2B is different, and it's exactly in those differences where the opportunities for innovation and disruption lie.
Exactly, Joe. And that's why in this episode, we're going to share 3 key differences between B2B and B2C e-commerce, which impact everything from how technology will be used to the ways in which the industry will be innovating in the near future.
So, Jobel, our first key difference in B2B e-commerce versus B2C e-commerce is the buyer journey itself. In B2B, customers are primarily performing a job function. They are here to completing a job duty. We are dealing with multiple individuals who buy on behalf of an organization or multiple organizations. Often those customers are faced with budget constraints, compliance aspects, or other regulations that they need to abide by. The focus in general is on replenishing over purchasing. It is on exchanging rather than returning, and it is on availability over price. In fact, price typically is pre-negotiated. Customers in B2B ask, do you have the item? Where do you have it? And when can I get it? Furthermore, in B2B, the transaction is actually embedded within a process. By that, we are thinking about things like the quotation flow or a negotiated buying experience where the sales rep pushes a bid to the customer. We are thinking about things like buy-side approval, etc. pp. We also have opportunities before and after the transaction to support our customers with the processes that surround the order itself. Whereas as in B2C, we're dealing with a product. A purchase is performed based on a need, sometimes emotionally inspired. We're typically looking to get a deal. We're typically focused on getting the item as quickly as possible. And obviously, we also sometimes find ourselves casually browsing and performing an impulse purchase.
Right, so every aspect of the buyer's journey is different. That means everything from user experience to data and analytics must be tailored to B2B. And this is the reason why at Xngage we created our own digital growth services practice and our own user experience practice so we can drive innovation on behalf of our clients. I'll give you an example. We all know that product data informs how buyers find the right item. So complex data, lots of attributes, lots of variation of the same item. So how do you design an experience to make it easy to purchase as efficiently as possible? And also, Joe, you talked about the process, how B2B is focused on the process, specifically here to the customer segment. So which means you want to present your users with a customer-specific catalog, product assortments, maybe different purchasing flows, such as requisitioner versus approver versus reviewer. So again, I ask the question, how do you design experiences to make them as relevant as possible? So Joe, our next key difference is order management. In B2B, orders are typically shipped to and from multiple locations. You have back orders, consignment stocks, like large order require inventory draws. Deliveries are optimized for timing. They have their own truck, fleet management. Orders management sometimes by the seller. You all know the vendor manage inventory, auto reorder, and punch out. Versus in B2C, typically an order has a single shipping destination and is shipped from a central warehouse, and the deliveries are optimized for cost. And of course, you have the trial and error. When you buy something, you don't like it, return it the next day.
These are great examples, Charbel, and it really goes to show that B2B solutions are complex, integrate a lot of data from different systems, and really requires a wealth of expertise and experience, not only on a technical level, but also on the business side. The third core difference between B2B and B2C commerce is the buyer and seller relationship. It's all about that relationship in B2B, Charbel. Customers know their sales reps. They turn to their sales reps for knowledge and expertise, for advice and guidance. That's often provided in form of trainings and educational events. Buyers also look to their sellers to get help with project management aspects. For instance, planogram ordering to restock an aisle, or entire project material takeoffs performed with the help of a sales reps to then translate into a bid. And last but not least, sales reps also manage the credit relationship, often even specific to a particular job. But ultimately, the relationship is what affords sellers to go above and beyond in sourcing items that may not even be in the product. And that's very specific to B2B. That relationship is the foundation of doing business, and you don't find that in B2C. In B2C, however, the relationship is focused on the transaction. Customer support is about maybe processing a refund or returning an item and such things. There is some brand loyalty, sure, but rarely a one-to-one relationship, and certainly not a personal one.
Joe, this is a big key difference, and I believe this is where you and I agree that this area represents the biggest opportunity for B2B organizations to innovate and differentiate. And this is why Xngage has been razor focused on digitalizing and enhancing the buyer and seller interaction. So those were the three core differences we see in B2B and B2C e-commerce operations. Because these differences are so foundational to the e-commerce operation management, we believe that B2B organizations are well suited to work with implementation partners and technology solutions that understand the nuances of B2B.
Absolutely, Charbel. Often we hear the notion in the industry that B2B organizations are lagging behind in terms of digital innovation, adoption, and mindset. Nothing could be further from the truth, and we will tackle this myth in our next episode.
Well, thanks for joining us today. Don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn and visit xngage.com. We'll see you next time. Bye.